the Small Business Lounge. Special thanks to Small Business Lounge in Mount Hawthorn. Jon Williams and I will be presenting the first episode of the Viral Media Show. Our guest today is Taylor Lynch. Taylor, tell us a bit about yourself.
Basically been in marketing for about 5 years. Traditionally started in real estate, but then moved into hospitality, so now just doing a mixture of both the marketing, mainly digital marketing for real estate and hospitality.
Okay, fantastic. So the reason we got Taylor on the show today was because Taylor actually manages quite a few social media platforms and accounts for quite a range of businesses in the past, like multi-million-dollar businesses and small startup social media accounts. Is that correct?
Absolutely. So I manage a community page called Streets of Subi, and that's got about nearly 18,000 local followers in Subiaco.
Yeah.
Before it closed, Matisse Beach Club used to win a lot of awards for social media. That had a massive social media following.
Yep.
I was in there 1 day a week doing that. Managed a couple of restaurants in Subiaco and managed quite a few real estate pages as well, for different real estate agents.
One of the big things that why we're doing this, why we're here today, is to really sort of drill down at the grassroots and help out and offer advice, suggestions from industry experts for smaller businesses. So what's some of the tips that you could share with the smaller companies around, how do they spend their money on social media? Everyone knows they need to be on social. What is a grassroots starting point? Where would someone start?
So I always say, it doesn't matter how much you spend, there's no substitute for good content. You've got to have really good content. And if you can't create it yourself, get someone that's good at creating it to do it for you.
And this is not an advert for anything, by the way. This is
No, it's not.
Genuine raw advice that we're all bouncing off each other. So, okay, yep. So good content, yep.
There's no substitute for good content. Once you've got the good content, you've got to either boost it or... there's some things like the Bell Tower Times, for example, doesn't boost anything and gets a massive reach just because the content's so good. Then for things like real estate and hospitality, you've got to boost it. So Facebook has boosted posts, you do stuff like that. You go into the back end and you target who your audience is as well. So for real estate, we often target, depending on the area and what the kind of house is, we'll target people between 35 and 50, or you can even target women or religious views and stuff like that. So You've got to really choose who you're marketing to.
Yeah, cool.
Charlie, do you think that there's any scope outside of, for businesses small to medium, is there any way that they can get similar growth without using strategies like social media? So in other words, take out the digital side, can businesses grow as fast, or is it like a prerequisite now that every business needs to be there?
I think the new age is every business, whether you're a mechanic, you're a telco, you're a real estate agency, if you're a small bar, you have to be online, you have to be in social media. There is scope for word of mouth. I think paper advertising, I wouldn't use paper. I don't use paper at all anymore in anything. I'm completely paperless. So brochures and flyers don't really work for me. I think you have to be social media. I think it's the way forward, basically. And that's it.
Yeah. So business owners who are not currently in social media using it, from your point of view, you can either track forward and have the growth that you're having already,
yep.
Or you can step into the social space and grow a lot faster, correct?
Yeah, you don't have to have a plan. I can't imagine a mechanic shop having a full scheduled month of social media content, but just having a presence. And and like I said, word of mouth right now is really people tagging each other in Facebook posts, and if they can tag and recommend, then that's all you need.
Let's go back to the mechanic. I think that's really interesting. Why not?
You certainly can.
Yeah.
And it's going to happen as well.
That's exactly right. If you're a mechanic out there and you're dabbling in social media, my question to you would be, why not? Why not do it now? Why not be one of the first in your space, in your industry, that's being progressive and actually getting on this machine that is going to consume all of us and the way we look at everything. It's kind of in our faces as it is. So why not take that scary but necessary step? That's my advice to fellow business owners.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone's got some sort of content someone will be interested in.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly right. I tend to agree massively. Okay, so in terms of social media space, when someone's boosting a post, you mentioned before, they can really drill down on the age groups of people, localities, things like that. are there any new technologies apart from using like the Facebook app itself? Are there any new technologies that you use or that you could maybe share with people watching this that would help streamline that process or help bring in all this information and put it into an easy package?
To be honest, I use Facebook.
Yeah.
It's I use the back end. There's insights, and I just use Facebook. It's all there. You can target it. People have their age in Facebook. I don't really go outside of that spectrum. I don't really need to.
Sure. Okay.
So what? I mean, obviously it's okay to be on Facebook, but clearly there's good content and bad content.
Yes.
What's good content look like? What does it? You know, how do you know you're on the right track?
Content is spelt correctly to start with. The images are aesthetically pleasing. There's so much stuff that people just post up without really thinking about it and thinking about how it looks. In real estate, for example, a lot of agents will post a photo and the bins are in the background.
Yeah.
It's not hard to just take the bins out, just make it that little bit nicer. We're in Australia. Spell things with the Australian spelling. Often autocorrect it to the American spelling, but people that are pedantic like me, and there's a lot of them out there,
I agree.
they won't like it.
Even this modern day time, like the structure of your post, I think has never been more important than our special guest Chili's having a little growl. The Small Business Lounge has a beautiful border collie here, and Chili's just having a little meltdown with the cameras today. So, yeah, the structure of the post I think is very important. I know personally, I've started to like really separate the sentences on the post. I'll throw in a couple of emojis, break it down so it's more aesthetically pleasing on the eye, it's easy to read, it's bite-sized chunks instead of having blah 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 blah. And you do notice the engagement, you get more organic engagement because people look at it and go, that looks nice.
If people see a big chunk paragraph that's going to be a pain in the ass to read, they won't read it.
They're just going to forget about it.
They'll just completely scroll through it. Too long, didn't read.
Yeah.
I break them up,
Yeah.
and it's all about keeping it easy for the reader.
Yeah.
So making it easy to digest.
Visual as well, right?
Yeah.
Like visuals is good, whether that be video or photographs or whatever it is.
Or text.
Or even text, yeah. But I think that's the important bit, right? Because there's so much noise out there, and there's so much like scrolling through news feeds.
Saturated, isn't it? It's just
Like,
saturated more and more and more every day.
And getting people to stop at yours.
Yeah.
You've got to stand out.
You've got to stand out. And
You've got to have something good to show. There's so much crap on social media. It's endless, so you really do have to up your game.
Yeah.
That's good.
That's interesting.
So you have made a fairly conscious decision, John, to engage with video. Like a lot of people that will see this will probably be in our smaller inner networks. You were doing video before we even met and got introduced to each other. What was one of the driving points? What made you decide, right, I need to take this to the next level, I'm going to use video, and moreover, you've chosen to use like high quality video?
I think the biggest thing in obviously in my space, in any space to be honest, whether you're a mechanic or a doctor or whatever it is you are taking people on a journey and you're storytelling, and whatever that medium is, what better way to tell a story than through video?
Well, statistically, it gets the best reach. Video, statistically, all the video gets the best reach. Doesn't matter how good your photos are. Video will almost always be at the top.
Yeah,
Video trumps.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
lucky for us right now, but
Absolutely.
we're going to cover a lot of other topics as the weeks go on as well. It's not just going to be about video. It's not just going to be about social. We're going to be covering things like sales. We're going to be covering things like lead generation. Are you micromanaging your business? Are you macro-managing your business as a whole? There's so much content to talk about, and it's really exciting.
So obviously, Taylor, we've been talking about quality of content, what you do, how you do it, depending on what industry you're in. Where are there any specific kind of time frames of when you should be doing things depending on what you are, what industry you're in?
So every business is different. What I found with real estate is a lot of the audiences on real estate pages are women, often mums. So I found that posting around the 3 p.m. time was good because it's a lot of mums sitting in the car park waiting to pick up their kids from school, and they're scrolling through their news feed. Small bars is different. Usually around 4:30 p.m. People are thinking about having that drink after they're about to clock off from work. I usually post around 4:30 p.m. Any restaurant or any other food sort of post, I posted either around 11:30 or around 3:30 because that's when people start to get hungry, and they start to think about food.
What I've just heard is it's like going back to basics. It's using common sense.
Absolutely.
Knowing your business, knowing the product and who it is and what you're selling, and then figuring out, right, when are we busy in the office? If we're busy in the office, chances are some small scope around that people are gonna want to see us on social media and actually engage.
Absolutely.
Right,
It's,
okay.
I think that's a really good point, is that this is all about the consumer and not you, the business owner,
Yeah.
or what you're selling,
Absolutely,
right? So
I
if you
agree.
can put yourself in the mind space of the consumer, that's clearly
That's all you've got to do.
that's the end game, isn't it?
That's what you've got to do.
Yeah.
You've got to just think who is consuming this and what's the best medium for them to consume it.
Yeah.
Which then you pull back the layers of the onion even more, which goes back to like the psychology that exists here, and it drills back to selling, where it's like you've got a client who has a problem that needs to be solved or a service that they need, and then you put yourself in their shoes and
Absolutely.
tie it all back in.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can apply that to other aspects of your business as well. So putting yourself into someone else's shoes, essentially.
100%.
So Taylor, we drove here together today, and I asked a couple of loose questions around like social media management platforms. You mentioned Hootsuite.
Yep.
Tell us about Hootsuite. What is Hootsuite? For people that don't know out there, what is Hootsuite? How can it benefit or possibly cause more pain in your business?
So Hootsuite, there's quite a few of them out there. They're platforms where you can manage multiple social media accounts at once.
Yeah.
They are useful if you've got quite a lot. I personally have found them to be more of a pain than actually serving me in any way. For example, like Instagram has been bought by Facebook. They're all linked up anyway now, so it's not really that
When
valuable.
you say linked up, what do you mean by linked up? Are you talking about the algorithms are all working in or against each other? What does linked up
I'm
mean?
talking about you put a post on Instagram, it's automatically on Facebook anyway.
Right. You still have to manually select that though sometimes?
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
But I found when you go through Hootsuite and you pre-plan your social media month too much, it becomes kind of impersonal and it becomes kind of automatic, and it's just not very genuine anymore. You've kind of got to just roll with it, and it's got to be natural. As much as you've got to plan it, it's got to feel natural as well.
Right, okay.
So what about, I mean, obviously most people nowadays are time poor. I personally would need to have some structure there and kind of forecast posts and stuff like that.
Yep.
Is that something that you're saying we shouldn't be doing?
No, I think you should do it, but only to a certain extent. Don't plan, maybe plan 2 weeks in advance. Don't plan 6 months in advance. You can, because on Facebook you can schedule posts, and I advise doing that as well for organic content. But it's just, you run the risk of appearing too manufactured if you just pump stuff out like that constantly.
Yeah.
I have a question about pumping stuff out in content. What is your thoughts on using stock images, or for example, you are a cheesecake shop or a cake shop and you've been on social media yourself and you've seen a bakery post, a video that goes viral. What's your thoughts on the cheesecake shop sharing the viral video of the bakery? Relevance?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah?
I think you should, if it's a viral video and it's get a lot of traction, why not?
Okay.
Take that traction.
Yeah. Even at the risk of then cluttering your wall, cluttering your feed, and potentially like burning out your audience because you're just pumping content?
Well, that's just once. So if you're doing it every day, yeah, I wouldn't do that.
Okay.
I'd say for a business like a cheesecake shop, maybe 2 or 3 times a week. Maybe probably only 2, because they've got one product that's cheesecakes.
Right.
There's only so much cheesecake you can see in your newsfeed. But if it was
There's only so much cheesecake that you can eat. What, was it in Melbourne? Those guys broke into the cheesecake store and actually
stole cheesecake.
Stole cheesecake, left the money, left the till. That's all from me
Yeah.
today. Like Taylor, thank you so much for coming on our first and pilot episode. It's been a pleasure. To our audience, again, Small Business Lounge, thank you very much for having us. They have a membership at the lounge. It's $25 a week. It is full of help, information, support from industry legends and industry experts in bookkeeping, accounting, and basically small business mentoring. So big shout out. Thanks for allowing us into your space today. And from us here, thank you for watching and stay tuned. Next week we'll have another episode up.
Thanks, guys.